Today I'll be telling you guys a new story about how EDP was my Uber driver. I remember the story like it was yesterday. I was 16 at the time, and it was a normal Friday afternoon. I was drenched in sweat as I had finished up basketball practice and our coach made us work extra hard since we had a match right around the corner. I changed out of my uniform and went to go to text my mom to pick me up. I checked my phone to see that she has messaged me. Well, my mom said, "I have to stay at the office late, sweetie. I won't be able to pick you up today. Let me know when you get done with practice." I was a bit bummed out as I knew I'd have to wait a while to go home. My mom rarely ever stayed late at work, but when it did happen, she would order me an Uber to come take me home. I texted her that I was finished and she sent me a picture of my Uber driver, the car, and the estimated pickup time. The driver's name was Bryant, and I could swear I recognized him with somewhere, but I thought of nothing. I waited outside the school on a bench when a white van pulled up next to me. "Hey kid, are you waiting for a ride?" he said. I was confused that it was a different car from the picture my mom sent, so I brought it up. "Hey, the car on the Uber app doesn't match this one. Is there any reason for that?" He suddenly seemed a little nervous, but then brushed it off as it was just a bug. "Oh yeah, I contacted Uber support about that, but they said it would take a week for it to show up on everyone else's side." Looking back now, I should have seen it was an obvious red flag, but it was getting late, I was tired, and I wanted to go home, so I stupidly got up and got in the van. The second I closed the door, he locked them. Red flag number 2. But again, I ignored it as everyone locked their doors before they started driving. As I looked at him more, he began to look increasingly familiar. He then began driving, and I was so tired, I began to doze off. I live around 30 minutes away from home, so I figured I could afford to let my sleepiness consume me for a quick nap. Before completely knocking out, I checked the clock. It was 4:30 p.m. When I woke up, I was still in the back seat of the car, but it has gotten dark outside. "What time is it?" I muttered. As I looked at the clock again, 9:30 p.m. I slept for 4 hours on the Uber ride. I was shaking with fear. As I looked outside the window, I did not recognize any of my surroundings. "Hey man, where are you taking me?" He just ignored me and kept driving. I started to panic and began pleading with him to let me out. When he ignored me again and again, I started to think two ways to make him answer me. "Hey man, if you don't let me out of the car, I'm gonna call the cops," I yelled. As I reached for my phone, I struck my hand in my pocket, expecting to feel my phone, but I felt nothing. I turned both pockets inside out and fear increased with each passing second. The driver then smirked as he saw hopelessness in my facial expression. "You're looking for this?" he asked, as he held my phone in his hand. He then opened the driver's side window and threw my phone out. "You know, it's been 4 hours since I've last eaten. I could really go for a cupcake right now." At the exact second, I realized why he looked so familiar. This guy, this creep, who was my Uber driver, was none other than EDP 445. I said, You're. EDP said, "That's right, my little cupcake. Don't worry. This will be all over soon." EDP 445 was a former YouTuber who got outed as a child predator since he got canceled. I guess he turned to Uber as his source of income and prey. Why? Just why do you prey on minors like me? I'm only 16. Please let me go. I promise I won't tell the cops, I pleaded. "Sorry, little one. I can't let you go. The younger the cupcake, the sweeter the frosting." I was absolutely disgusted by what I heard. But at this moment, I didn't want to say nothing that could anger him. I slowly began to accept my fate that by the end of the night, I would be another victim of the monster known as EDP 445. Man, he was creepy. Every once in a while, he licked his lips while he looked back at me. The rest of the night was a blur, but according to my mom, and the details are follows. A man saw EDP toss my phone out of the window and went to pick it up. He took a picture of the van's license plate due to the gut feeling and saw that my mom was calling me. My mom told him what was going on. Apparently, a tracker on the Uber app showed that I was dropped off at my house, and my mom couldn't find me. She started calling over and over and over again until the man picked up. The man managed to call the cops, and with what they described as a stroke of luck, they found the van parked near an abandoned warehouse and were able to arrest EDP before anything bad happened. Apparently, they found cupcakes laced with all kinds of drugs in the back of the car. I can only imagine what would have happened to me, and the cops showed up. And ever since my mom refused to let me ride home alone, out of fear, that one day he might show up again.